Hey everybody, this is David at Barnyard Bees. What we're doing today for the new beekeeper or somebody that's not installed packages before, what we're going to do is the steps you need to do after you install your package. Now, if you need a video on how to install packages, I'll put some in the link where I've installed packages before. And there's a lot of videos out there on installing packages. But what I wanted to show you today is what to do on your first inspection. So let's see what we got going on here. We've got our feeder, a hive top feeder. And as you can see as I'm talking, the bees are trying to fly in the feeder and get a free meal from another hive. But you can see how they're eating down the sugar water. It was about full a day ago, so they're not taking it down real fast, but they are taking it down. So here's what we got. New beekeepers, always start on the outside frames when you do an inspection, and pull your first frame out. And if you notice here, this is an old frame from last year. And if you notice too, here's another little tip, is instead of using starter strips, if you use the cleat that you break off, you can paint it in wax and restaple it back to the frame, and it works great. They'll draw that down really easy. They just haven't got that far on this one yet. So what we do, I usually set my first frame outside, and that'll give you room to work. And then pull your frame out. Now, here's what you're looking for. If you come across the queen, fine. That's good. But you don't necessarily have to find her. And the first thing I always look for, let me move them out of the way here with my one finger. If you can see right back in there, hopefully the light's shining, you'll see little eggs right there. Let me try to move them again a little bit more with my finger. Hopefully it'll show up on the camera. But you'll see eggs down in those cells. Okay, that shows you right there that your queen is not only released, but she's also laying. Now, get your empty cage out, close it up, and leave them alone. You don't need to go any further. Except, of course, to get your frame out, your queen cage. Okay, one-handed here. So I'm going to have to, okay, here's my cage. If you remember in the last, well, no, I haven't published that video yet. I'm a video ahead of myself here. But anyway, we put our cages on the bottom frame. Let me knock it off right here. And it's already properlized some. And of course she's released. I know she's released. This is an old frame from last year. And these old frames work really well. If you have some that has wax moth damage, and if the frame is still intact, you can actually use that frame. There's nothing wrong with it. The wax moths, they do not overwinter in these frames. The eggs do not. There's people that tells that they lay eggs and it stays in the wood. That is absolutely not true. Now there's eggs right there that you can see. You can see how they're drawing that out very well. Even if they did, even in the worst case scenario, say if they did lay eggs in this time of year, it's not even wax moth season time. So by that time, this colony will be so strong it won't matter anyway, because they will take care of the problem. But it's just not true. They do not. I've not ever seen it. And these work fine. We drop these back in. The only thing I've done with some of these frames here, some of these may have had some old dark wax, and I just simply pushed it out and left a little remnant on the top. That'll save you some money if you don't want to buy full foundation, or even any foundation. You can use that as a starter strip, just that little remnant of wax on the very top. You could actually even take some wax and rub it on there, or melt it on there. It would work just fine too. So that's what you want to do. You want to go in, make sure she's laying. If you see the eggs stop, you do not have to keep looking for the queen. But see how they've drawn this out really well? This is a full sheet, and I'll put the full sheets. Now, let me step back just a minute to remind before I get ahead of myself. The frames that have the starter strips or the little bit of wax on top, do not put two of them side by side. You have to have a full sheet like this in between, whether it's plastic or wax, because what they'll do, they'll draw a wild comb and they'll connect the two together, and you do not want that. So there's actually, I can see eggs back there if you can see it on the video. Let's see if I can do this a spin around here. And they have not done anything on this side. So make sure you stagger those. See, there's one, I'll show you here in a second. Here's another one here that doesn't have anything done with it yet. They've not touched it. But remember, when you install a package, you're a month out of bees being hatched. Pretty much a month. 21 days for the first workers to hatch, and you just well figure another 2 or 3 days for the queen to be released in the first place. And then her being caged up for a while, she may be just a little bit slow before she throttles up. So you're pretty much looking at a month before your population will increase. Now the population will actually decrease. You may start off with a 3-pound package. A lot of people don't think about this. You may start off with a 3-pound package, but before that first brood hatch, you may only have 2 pounds of bees, because bees are dying every day. The old bees, and just from different reasons that they die, mostly, old age, they're wore out, and they just, bees don't live that long. So keep that in mind. If you go through your hive and you see, man, there's less bees than there was when I installed them. Yeah, they're going to be. It's going to take a while before that increase starts happening. That's why nucs are so much better than the packages, because when you buy a nuc, it's growing and that queen's laying as you're purchasing, as you're bringing it home. And when you set it up, she never stops. She's laying the whole time. She's actually going to increase immediately from the time you get her home. Where packages, it's just the opposite. They're going to have to draw out the comb. She's going to have to lay 21 days for the first workers to hatch, but there's going to be a delay there where the queen's released, and her pattern, her laying pattern may not be, not all the time, but sometimes when the queen's confined into a cage for a little bit, it will slow them down to begin with. And then once they get in the rhythm, then they'll start laying more and more and more. So keep that in mind when you get your package. Don't get worried when you see the population is decreased, because it'll take some time. Just give it some time. Keep feeding it. Look how the feeder here, how the bees are flying in, because I've been sitting here jibber jabbing. So I'll have to dig those bees out here in a second. But just a little tip. Sometimes I'll put things in the caption when I forget to say something. So sometimes I put too much caption. I had a few people tell me that. And but the reasons I do it, because when I go back through and edit the video, I think, oh, I forgot to say something, or forgot to explain something in more detail. So that's the reason that I do that. But that's what you do. Pull your old cage out. If you see eggs, stop looking. You don't have to find that queen, unless you just want to, but it's not necessary. The more you look, you are a little bit more risk at pinching her or bumping her. Especially if you are a new beekeeper, and because you may have a full bee suit with clumsy gloves on, which is necessary for some people. I understand that, but I'm just telling you the facts of what can happen. is you're more at a risk if you see her laying, stop, put your feeder back on, close it up, and keep the feed going to it, and you don't need to get back in there for at least a month. Just keep them fed. And also keep in mind too, when you if you're installing packages, and say if you install more than one, 2, 3, or 4, sometimes those bees will drift, because when you shake that package, all the bees don't always go in the hive, or they'll come out and not know where to go back because they've not done the orientation flight yet, so they're confused and lost. So keep that in mind as well. And there's different ways that you can control that, and I got a video coming out before this one that will explain that. So that's about it. Don't forget, folks, we got lots of packages for sale. Nucs, beekeeping supplies, whatever you need, everything and anything at barnyardbees.com. Don't forget, click on the little bell, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Barnyard Bees.